Hello everyone. Today I have a digital painting that I want to share with you guys. I didn't get a chance to film the sketching of it, so here is the picture that I posted on Instagram that inspired this drawing. And so as you can see from the start, I kind of didn't record the very beginning part, sorry about that, but I just had laid down the skin and shaded some of the areas already. And I'm starting with the eyebrows now, so on to that. I wanted to do a drawing for Valentine's Day, so I just took this sketch that I had done actually like in the middle of math class. It was just a little random doodle that I liked. It was a portrait of a girl, and I just wanted to make it into a digital painting because I don't normally do this kind of style where it's very soft and doesn't have any line art and it's more painterly. I usually do harsh black edges and like white highlights and very structured, I guess. In some ways I don't really like working in a very loose way, but I wanted to push myself and do something out of my comfort zone, especially since I feel like I've been getting kind of complacent with my art and like the style that it's been in. I feel like I just kind of get bored with it in some ways, and I think it's time for me to change it up a little bit. I usually do really huge eyes on characters, very over exaggerated, and this time I decided to go for a smaller, like more narrow eye. That's sort of different. I've drawn eyes like that before, but I don't normally do it, so I tried something new. And because this drawing is inspired by Valentine's Day, I just wanted to make it really pink and cute and very like lovey-dovey. So you'll see that I put hearts in certain areas. I didn't want to go too overboard, but I did put like hearts in some places, like in her eye highlights end up being hearts, and her earrings that I give her end up being hearts. That's also why I chose just a lot of pink colors. I've been really into pink lately, like wearing pink and pink eyeshadows and pink drinks from Starbucks and all these different pink things. I don't know, maybe it's just the spirit of Valentine's Day kind of like creeping into my life, but it's nice. I really am enjoying that color. I think it may be starting to become my favorite color. One thing that was kind of tripping me up this entire drawing was the eyelashes. I like them, and I like how black and like starkly like contrasting they are from like the eyes and everything, but they're very flat. They're very just black and there's no dimension to them, and I feel like I probably could have added some like highlight to them or something to give them some shape, since everything else has some sort of like form and definition to it with the shading and everything. So they do stand out a little bit, and I feel like if I was to do it again, maybe I would try to get some different tones within the eyelashes, but I've never really seen people do that much, so I'd be interested to like look up a video or something and find out like how that's achieved well. I've actually been doing like two pieces that are kind of like this, in this sort of like very painterly style. I've started working on a separate one that's like this, but it's of Billie Eilish and her song Bury Your Friend. I really like that song, and I love the music video. I feel like the like imagery in it is really cool, and how it's so desaturated and really like kind of dark, and like it's kind of like, if I was thinking of like horror as a movie genre, I'd say that music video is probably the closest thing to horror in music. Even the sound of the music sounds like a horror, like it would be in a horror movie or something, which is really cool. So that'll be on my Instagram whenever I finish it, probably tomorrow, or today. It's gonna be up pretty soon. So if you want to go check that piece out, that'll be on my Instagram. It's LaRose Art, LOROSE_art. So if you think that's really interesting or you want to see that, be sure to go over there and check it out. One thing that I find pretty difficult about drawing in this way, in this style of like digital painting, is like that I find it hard to get really deep shadows. I feel like I can get highlights pretty easily, but with shadows it becomes difficult, and I find myself having to keep layer and layer and like do extra ones. With this drawing, it was a little bit less contrast. There's a lot less contrast at the end, which hopefully by the time I finish editing this, I will have changed the background. I made the background like a kind of grayish pink color, but I think I'm going to change that and get it darker, because a lot of the drawing ends up being very mid-toned, and I really wanted it to be have more contrast in it, and that way parts of it stand out more. I just realized one thing that I completely forgot about in the art but did in the sketch, and that's the freckles. She has freckles on her face, and I completely forgot about those. But I kind of do like it without. I may go back in and add it again while I'm editing this, but I did completely forget about those. So you can see I'm working on the hair right now. I did strands of hair and how they're laying, and then I blended that all out, and then went back over it again with like more detail, and then blended that all out again. And what I did the second time, which made a lot more sense, was when I did the detailed layer, I duplicated it and then blended out one of the layers, because at the top part of her head of hair, instead of doing that, I drew it twice. I drew it detailed, blended it out, and then drew it detailed again. And it would have been better if I had just copied it and then blended out one of them. That would have saved me a lot of time, which I wish I had done that. But overall, they ended up looking about the same. So really, either one worked. It just would have been a little bit of a time saver. I really enjoy drawing hair a lot. I think it's so fun to get like all the strands in place. Especially I like adding all the tiny little pieces of hair that are like flyaways and like coming a little bit out of place of the hair at the end. That's always fun to me. And I feel like I could probably do that more. I feel like I draw hair a little bit too pristine sometimes. Like you can see here that I'm adding in little loops that kind of like bulge out from the main sections of hair, which are nice, but I feel like it would be really fun to try and do something that's like really crazy and like flyaways are going everywhere, because it's kind of more realistic, I guess, in some ways. And for the hair, I actually did it on 2 different layers. I did like the top section on a layer and the back section on a layer, so I could have one that's on top of the skin layer and one that's behind the skin layer. That way I didn't have to worry about coloring over the skin with like the back section of the hair. And as you can see now, I'm actually gonna duplicate this layer of hair, detailed hair strands, and then blur out one of them, and it just makes it a lot quicker and a lot easier to just do. But looking back on the style, I'm not really sure if I'll continue doing it this way, where I'm in this manner, but I do really like it, and I think the look of it's really cool. But I don't really know if it's for me. A lot of times I get frustrated when I see people's art that's like super like realistic and polished and like not so much line art cartoony style, and theirs looks so great, and like I think, oh my gosh, that's the pinnacle of art, I have to be like that. But there's so much value to like more cartoony styles with like big bold line art and like exaggerated faces and shapes that aren't so realistic. There's a lot of work that's put into that and making it look really cool. So in some ways, I think I get kind of blinded to the fact that like it's okay to have a style that's not as like perfectly polished and realistic as some others. It doesn't make it any less valuable. It's just something that like is it's just different, and they're both equally interesting and cool. I feel like sometimes when people who don't necessarily know a lot about art see it, they automatically think that like, oh, the more realistic art is better than the cartoonier style of art, which isn't always true. And so it's interesting to think about how we regard cartoony versus realistic art, and which ones we value more as a whole. So you all should let me know what you're doing for Valentine's Day, or what your plans are this year. I'd love to hear about it. I hope you're all having a great time and being able to spend time with loved ones and just have an amazing day that day. That's actually my sister's birthday, so I'll be calling her and everything, and so it kind of always feels as more of like her day than a romantic day or something like that. I mean, my plans for Valentine's Day, I'll probably just be hanging out with friends and going to this little rom-com movie night that we're having for my social service group at my school. So that'll be super fun, and I can't wait for that and to hang out with everyone. I think we'll probably be watching either The Proposal or 13 Going on 30, which I haven't seen The Proposal, but I love 13 Going on 30, so excited. So as you can see on the drawing, I'm just adding some of the background elements, and it felt very empty once I thought I was kind of finished with it. And so I didn't really know what to do, so I just added these kind of specks and stars to the background, kind of like a floating atmospheric sort of vibe thing. But I like it, but I feel like I'm probably going to end up changing the background color, so you'll probably see in like the final shot of the drawing that it'll probably be a different background color. And then these earrings, I really thought that it felt like the drawing was missing something, like there was just a lot of emptiness and space, but the earrings actually ended up making it look a little offset and leaning towards the left, so I ended up just scratching those because they were cute, but they were too big and they were just not really helping the composition in any way. So I went with instead these little stud earrings because I thought they were a lot cuter and they worked better with the drawing. So we're getting near the end of the video now, and I just want to say thank you all for watching. Subscribe, comment, and go check me out on Instagram at larose_art if you want to see any of my posts or check out this drawing, which will be up on there. So thank you guys for watching. See you next time.